Hi, Tracy here with faithinspirations.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own art journal out of a magazine that you have. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a magazine. I have a selection here, so I'll just kind of go through what I'm looking for whenever I'm going to get a magazine to use for an art journal. And then you're going to need some glue, and that's all you need. It's so easy to create an art journal out of magazines. And I actually like to hold my magazines together, my art journals together with a binder clip, so you can find these at any office supply store or at the Dollar Tree. And they just kind of help keep things closed. So I'll give you some examples in a minute of just different art journals that I have made using magazines. And I love to use them mostly when I'm kind of testing out techniques or trying to, you know, just do something in an art journal that doesn't work, that I don't want to worry about. I just want to throw paint in there and just have a lot of fun. So, and then I don't have to worry about like how expensive was the art journal or am I going to ruin the page, because these are literally junk mail. So it's all good. So let me show you some of my examples here. This one here, I don't remember what I used, what magazine I used, but I did do the cover here, and it's getting kind of worn on the side. So it's not like these are going to stand the test of time. So don't put your best artwork in here. Like, this is for fun, you know, to try out new techniques, to do things where you just don't have to worry about anything. So here's a couple examples of my magazines. And I will often work on multiple pages. That's why I have 3 of these. So I'll be working on one, I'll let it dry, I'll go to the next one, I'll let it dry, and I'll work on the next one. So I don't always work on one art piece front to back. Here's one where I'm using a little bit of texture paste in this one. Here's one where I use some napkins. This one here, I used a little bit of burlap here. I was doing some ink work in this one. Here's one with, looks like I was doing some more ink work with this one. I've got one where I was experimenting with adding flowers in there. This one is just, I needed to just take a break. Sometimes you can get anxious, and then, you know, I like to come to the Lord in my art journal and just, you know, remind myself to cast my cares on the Lord, and he will help me through everything. So in this one, I just wrote, I am not anxious about tomorrow. Here's one for Christmas. I love this one, Holy Night. This is actually using Bible Journaling Ministries momentum printables for this one. This one is a house that I was painting. I wanted to sketch some houses. This one here is just a stencil. And actually, in the background here, this is actually Target practice paper that I didn't want to throw away, so I just used that. And you will see that a lot of my magazine art is really kind of, you know, rough and wrinkly. I like that texture, but I'll give you some tips in a bit on, if you don't like that, what you can do. Let's see. I've got this one here. This one I was experimenting with some new glitter paint. And this one is just a page I'm currently working on. Like I said, I try to work on, this maybe was drying, and then I worked on something else. And here's another one that's kind of in process. And then I have, you can see just the rest of the magazine here. So this was actually Garden and Gun magazine, 2019. So nice magazine to use if you have it. Garden and Gun. Okay, so that's an example. This one is, you know, was my very favorite one because it was such a heavy duty cover, and I just feel like I can throw this around and nothing ever happens to it. Except for now it's kind of, I don't know, now it's kind of breaking on the end here, but it's okay. It's probably because of all that ink that just kind of flowed through eventually. You can see on the edges that there's a lot of ink that's been tossed in that. This one here, let's see if I can see what this magazine was. This one, oh, this is the University of Arizona College of Engineering magazine. They sent it for alumni, so they sent that to me, and I just used it for creating some artwork. This one I haven't done a lot in. This one's really cute. Friends Are the Flowers in the Garden of Life. This one I'm currently working on, and then blank. For the cover, I usually just paint it acrylic, and then I'll put some gloss over it, some gloss medium. So I'll do some acrylic paint, might do some stenciling. It looks like I did some stenciling here. This one here, this is ink spray. So this one here is a little gesso with some ink spray, and then let it dry. And then I add these printables. These ones are in Bible Journaling Ministries Momentum program, and so is this one. So I just use that for the cover. But in Faith Inspirations, we do have Praying Girls and Praise Gals that you can use here as well. If you don't have access to Momentum, you could use those too. So yeah, so this one is just a engineering magazine. And this one, I think this one is a flyer. Let's see. Compassion.org sent me this one. And this one just has some black with some, I was doing some experimenting with cotton balls probably to do this one. This is my faith inspiration work that I did in the month of November. This is just some random painting I was doing in it. This one I was playing with some stencil paste. I was having some fun and some dried flowers there and a new stamp that I had got. And then I think that's it for this one. So you could do a lot in these little magazine journals, and they're so fun, and you can just have fun and experiment, and you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about how expensive the paper was, because usually it's free. Usually. So let me kind of show you some of the magazines that I have, and some of the ones I like and some of the ones I don't like. So I get magazines in the mail. These are old, but I love these, and I wanted to share these with you. There's a couple in here that are kind of newer. It's so funny. I got a subscription to Wine Spectator, but I don't drink wine. I just thought it was so funny. They just started sending it to me. And I'm like, I don't drink wine, but I've never read one, but maybe I'll use this as the art journal today. And then even things like if you have like a 401k or a brokerage account, sometimes you get your annual reports. This is like an annual report from the Bible Project. So, I probably wanted to use one of these. This is really nice. So what am I looking for when it comes to a magazine? When it comes to a magazine, I want a nice cover. Like, to me, the cover is important. So if I'm looking at my magazines in front of me, I have 3 magazines here, and they're just catalogs. So this is a magazine, this is a catalog, this is a catalog. This one from Logos or Logos, however you want to pronounce it. I pronounce it Logos. This one is such a flimsy cover. Now I can use it. I'm not going to throw it away, but I can use it still. A lot of times I'll use magazines for words and things like that. I think are cool to cut out some of the words. Like you could cut out celebration. You could cut out all kinds of words here. Live your calling. I'd probably cut that out and put it in my junk journal pile. So don't throw away your magazines, because you can use them for anything. Go Make Disciples. This is amazing for faith art journaling. Even this would be great to use. So don't throw away your magazines, because your magazines can be used in your art. So I wouldn't choose this one for my art journal because it's so flimsy. Look how flimsy this is. It's not going to stand up to all of the trauma that I'm going to put through it. Okay. So that one's not one. Same with this one. This one's Bible Study Magazine. It is also very like flimsy. Now this one is not as flimsy, but it's still kind of flimsy. I might use something like this for things that I use less water in. So I might come in and use this. You know, it's decent. It's got a nice cover to it. So once I fold it over, it's going to be, you know, pretty thick, like this one from Compassion. So this one here from Compassion is the same type of magazine where, you know, it's a little bit flimsier, but not as flimsy as this. So this is really flimsy. This one has a nicer cover, and the pages seem a little bit thicker. So I might choose this as an option. So this would be an option I would consider. So I put that aside. And then I go look at everything else I have. The Wine Spectre magazine. This one has a really thick cover, so it is going to be fabulous for one of these art journals. It's so thick, you can just hear it. In terms of flimsiness, it's not as flimsy. I can't do that whole flimsy, well, there, now I can kind of do it. But if your magazine, you can get to work like a wave, then it's too flimsy. Whereas this one, it's a little bit harder to do it. Okay, so I would choose this one, number one, because of the thickness of the cover, and the pages are pretty good too. So this is a good option. So this would be like my so far number one option of the ones I've reviewed, and this would be like number two. Also, size might be of interest to you. Now, I don't have one this size, so for me, it might be fun to have one this size, but it seems kind of big to me. If it's too big to you, don't forget, you can always cut these. So you can get scissors out or straight edges and just cut your magazines if you want to. You don't have to keep them and do it exactly how I'm showing. So for the Wine Spectre magazine, it's going to be a little bit too big for me, and I don't really want to cut it down. So I'm going to put it aside, and maybe in the future I'll make a magazine art journal out of it. But it is an option, and it is a good option because of that nice cover. So if I just had these two to work with, I might choose to do the Wine Spectator one. Okay, let's talk about another magazine. Things like the Magnolia magazine and the Everyday Faith magazine have really thick covers. They make great magazine art journals. But the problem is I find them to be pretty expensive. So I usually will save them and use them for something else or read them again. But both of these are really good for magazine art journals. And then lastly, annual reports. So if you do have any, 401k or a brokerage account, sometimes you'll get an annual report from a company, and you can, this one here is because I donated. So I get a lot of things sometimes when I donate. So, but that's okay. Don't throw them away. They're sending them to you, read them, and then, use them for something. But these annual reports, this one was 2021. And these are really good. So I will probably use one of these. Maybe let's use this one for our art journal this time. I also wanted to show you, if you don't have a magazine, especially during election time, you will get a ton of election pamphlets and posters in your mail. And they're so thick. Another place to find scrap paper is at the mailbox. So if you go to the post office, a lot of times people are going through their mail and there's trash, and they'll just throw it in there. I don't know if you can take that trash, but if they just leave it there, maybe on the counter you could grab it, these junk mails that nobody wants, and maybe make it that way. I don't know if you can do it or not, but there's all kinds of places to find magazines that nobody wants, and you can use them for your art. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so the way I make my magazines is I will start with the cover, and then I will fold in my page like this. Okay, and if you have a bone folder, that would be very helpful. I don't have one in front of me, so I don't have one, but I just fold in my page like this. Okay, maybe I'll grab my little paintbrush and just kind of fold that edge. Now you'll notice that edge looks a little crusty because this is so thick. I wouldn't worry about it because you'll probably paint over this and it'll smooth out over time, or it will be just crusty, and that's fine too. So then I take the other one in the back and then I'll fold that one over as well. So now I have the front and the back. Okay. I like to fold my cover with the pages inward. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue. Now, if you're not going to be putting any like mediums like gesso or anything in your art journal, if you're just going to be using glue stick, then you can use tape for this part. So just grab your little tape runner and just run a couple pieces of tape and fold it over, and you'd be done a lot faster than the method I'm going to show you right now. So this method here is just using a glue stick, and I'll just come in here and just, you know, add a glue stick here. Now, some of you guys might be wondering like, wow, that could cost a lot of money. Well, it could, but I find glue sticks to go on sale during school season for really cheap. I went into the Walmart this year and they had like 2 or 3 glue sticks for $1 there. So I don't really worry about the glue sticks. I buy them when they're super cheap. And then you can also get them at the Dollar Tree, or you can there's all kinds of places to find glue sticks. And you probably just need 1 glue stick for your whole art journal, maybe 2. It depends on how thick your art journal is and how much glue you're putting down. But I like to make sure I definitely have glue in the seam and on the edge. And what I mean by the seam is right here in the middle. That's the seam. And so I'm just going to fold that over. And then as it relates to the rest of the pages, the way I like to fold mine is I like to fold mine into the spine. So I'll fold mine like this until I get to the middle. So I'll keep folding. And I'm just going to fold these so that you guys can see. That you're welcome to speed this video up if this is completely boring to you. Now, if I were to find something that I really liked, like for example, I really like this and I, want that to show, then I can fold it so you can see it, right? But let's say I really like that. Like that's going to be a nice fun background anyways, just like this. Maybe I have something else around here. Okay, but let's say I really liked this page and I didn't want to fold it in like I'm folding in the rest of these other pages. Then it doesn't matter. You can fold it in. Don't feel like you have to do it exactly my way. Do it however you want to do it. But I will typically fold all of them in until I get to the center. I'm so glad I chose this one because it's so much easier. So it's a small book, so we can create this together and you can see. Okay. A lot of people also will trim instead of folding. You can cut it and just glue pages together. That will work as well. I don't do that, but you can do that. I like this method better because it gives me a really nice thick page. So now that I've reached the middle has 2 staples in it. Now I'm going to fold mine so that the pages go inward instead of, the other way. Okay. Also, as you are working with your art journal, you may find that some pages come up. So for example, here, this page is coming up from the staple. You can either re-staple in the center if you want to, which is probably what I would do. But if you didn't, it would be okay as well to just put a little piece of tape there. So again, we're not worried about these magazines because these are just for fun and just not to worry about, just to make sure that we don't have to worry about our art journals or art at all. Like this is a carefree way to get a free art journal that you don't have to worry about. So that's why I like these, because I can just come in here anytime, throw some paint in these art journals and be on with my day. And I don't have to like stress out about if it's going to turn into a masterpiece or not. And if it turns into a masterpiece and I really, really love it, I can try to replicate it in a more formal art journal if I want to, or I can take it to the printer and get it printed. Just, do it that way. That's fine too. I could scan it in if I want to. That would be fine as well. So these aren't anything that I'm going to leave as an heirloom to my children. These are for me to just have fun with, and that's all I worry about with these. So I'm just going to come in here and add some more glue to this, and I'm going to do this for all of these. So you don't have to, but I'll probably speed through this part because otherwise this might take forever. But I'll show you a few of these so you can see how we do it. So I'm folding my page in, and then I'm coming in and I'm just, for half of the page, adding a glue stick around the edge and then in the middle. And the more uniform you get your glue, so let's say if I were to put glue on this complete page and then have it so it didn't have any space in between the glue and it had such a perfect glue job, the chances of it wrinkling would be less. Because the reason why it wrinkles the way it wrinkles whenever you apply some kind of medium to it is because the paper soaks up that medium, and then it just kind of, the fibers in the paper, they concave, right? So they start to wrinkle and concave. But if you're not using any wet mediums in this art journal, then you don't have to worry about that. But if you are using wet medium in your art journal and you're still concerned about the concave that you might get, if you apply more glue and get it completely, you know, sealed to the next page, it will be less because there won't be any pockets of air in there to kind of bubble up. So all to say, again, I don't worry about it because it's just kind of, this is just a fun activity for me. And it's a way for me to, you know, grab another art journal at no cost. Well, the cost of a glue stick, which in my bin was probably 10 cents, maybe 12. So, you know, 10 cents. Okay, well, 10 cents is a lot cheaper than $20 or, you know, $10 depending on where you buy your art journals at. So again, this is a very cost-effective way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and probably speed up this part of the video because all I'm going to do is I'm gluing each of these pages in. And then when I get to this side, I'm just going to glue the pages in the way they're folding. So you just glue the pages the way you want them to fold. Like this one here, I have 2 together. So make sure you don't have 2 together. And then these ones will just glue in towards the center. That's how I like to do my gluing. Now, I also want to tell you that you don't have to fold if you don't want to. You can also cut. So for example, let me just show you an example. So let's say I was going to make an art journal out of this one, and I didn't want to fold all these pages. What I could do is I could cut them with scissors. So let's say I folded that, and I just wanted to not fold and glue, but just cut, right? So I could get my scissors or a ruler and just rip that. And let me do this one here. Oh, she's so cute. Hi, baby. You're so cute. Okay, I'm gonna fold this one just to give me a cut line. If you were gonna get your scissors out, you would cut along this line. And I'm tearing because I actually like the thought of having a ripped edge on this. Okay, so instead of folding, right, now you're cutting. Okay, and instead of gluing and folding in, now you could glue one page to the other. So let me just show you real quick, just so you have an idea of the different options you have. Okay, so now I have that one like that. All right, and I'm just going to take this page and just fold it over. Okay, now I have a nice page like this. All right, and it's, you know, half instead of folded over. Now I have 2 pages. So I could even add a 3rd page to this and make that page a little bit thicker. So if you want thicker pages, feel free to glue more pages together. So here's an example of that. Let me just get the glue down for you. Okay. So now I have 3 pages here glued together, making one nicer, thicker page. And you could add another page if you wanted to. You could come over here and do 4 pages together if you want. But you'll start to see the thinner magazines, the pages start to wrinkle a lot quicker. Like this one's already starting to wrinkle, but over time that will smooth out. after it dries out. It will probably smooth out a little bit more. But you can see it start to wrinkle because these pages are so much thinner than these pages that we were working on here. So that is another option. So I'll go ahead and finish up my art journal and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and this one's done. I don't know if you guys can hear, but sometimes you hear like a little stickiness. That's because my glue is still not dry and I just worked through all of it. So, you know, I don't, again, like if the glue sticks to that, I'll just open it up and then, you know, again, paint and stuff's going to go all over this. So it doesn't matter. So it's all ready to go. So this one's done. I did want to give you a tip for the ones that where the pages are that you're tearing. So instead of folding all of them like I was doing, you just need to fold one of them. Then you know exactly where to put your ruler, and then you can just rip all of them afterwards. Just don't rip the back page. So now you can, it just makes it a lot easier for you. And you could do 2 pages at a time if you want to, you know, rip a couple of them at a time. You don't have to do them one at a time. So that's just gonna save you some time. And this is my back page. And again, let me just finish this with you while we're here. I'll just finish this last one. This one took me a full glue stick to do. This one, I'm not sure. So if you are trying to count how many glue sticks you need, you probably need a little bit over 1 for each magazine. And again, I'm not being really precious about any of this. So one more on that page. And again, I'm just gluing the pages together. I'm gluing them 2 to 3 together. 2 or 3 of them are being glued together. Let me show you one that where I decided not to do that. So I'm gluing 3 pages together. Ooh, that one's a little bit wrinkly. That's okay. That's fine. Okay. So I'm gluing 3 pages together in this one, but over here I'm gonna glue 2 pages together. And why did I do that? Because I really like this picture of the world. So I wanted to keep the picture of the world here. So I only glued 2 pages together. Another thing that you might have questions about is what happens if your page in the ones that you fold, what happens if your page bends, like it bends this way? Well, then you can come in and just, you know, fold it over and glue it back. I'm trying to find one for you. Like, let's say this page bent in like that, okay? Just come in and add a little glue to it and then bend it back and don't worry about it. See, no big deal. Like some of these things that we might be worried about, we don't need to worry about them, okay? So that's still a little sticky. So that might stick to this page, but we'll just keep going for the sake of the video. Okay, so I need 1, 2, 3 pages left and then my cover. So that's all I need to do with this one. So since I have 3 pages connected or glued together, I'll do 3 more pages glued together on this side. And so this one's gonna be a smaller art journal because I'm gluing pages together and I'm not folding them. So it's gonna be smaller in terms of the number of the page count, because you're getting pretty much half to only a third of the pages left if you glue them all together, right? See, that page just kind of curls because I'm getting it all wet with all my glue. Okay, and this is the last one. But you can see that doing this, again, I'm not fussy about anything. I'm just coming in here, I'm just adding glue so I can stick pages together. And it's really important for me that they stick on the edges. Although if they do come at the edges, I'll show you in a minute how to fix that too. Again, all it does is involve adding more glue. So it's not, this isn't rocket science. This is just glue on paper and getting enough of it down to make the pages stick together. Okay. If you like these videos, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe because we have a lot of good content coming for you guys. And all of it focused on serving you guys and helping you grow in the word creatively. So, okay, so this is done and it doesn't have that many pages in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, maybe 6 pages, plus the front and back cover. And if you have any things that are sticking out, you can just, you know, kind of tear it off if you want to. I like kind of a rough edge on that, so I'm totally happy with it. So let's see if I have any pages that are not glued well together. Like that one's kind of open on the side here. So I would just come in with my glue stick at the edge of it and just add it and push it down. And then it should work fine. Do I have any more where I didn't get the edge? Yeah, this one. Again, I'm just coming in with a little bit of glue on the edge, because the edges I like to have all the way down. Okay, that looks good. So let's see, now we have 2. We made 2. So we made one with folding and we made one kind of cutting in half. And now we have 2 art journals that we can work together with and not have to worry about anything. So if you stick around, I will create a video that shows you what is the next step. Like, how do we add things to these art journals? Do we add paper? Do we add gesso? Stick around. Don't forget to subscribe. Those videos will be coming soon. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.